moves Tormentor as well, so then it'll help Spirit find his like earlier on, because I think there's a lot of value out of his Ag Shard this game. You've got the Brew to purge up, but really, I mean, we're looking at third item Nullifier from Rikushi. You're going to go Echo, Manta. I have to imagine it's Manta, and we've seen that pretty often. There's some value potentially against the Orchid from Lul, although we see that on some Storms, not really, but it's really just the pit and the stats that it gives you.
It's just a ton of stats,
Yeah, but I mean, it's such a cool build-up in general, the Nullifier from the Void Spirit, and I don't imagine it's going to be any different from the carry, so I really do wonder when Yutori's going to consider about going the shard, or again, maybe they can just hopefully get lucky and take the Tormentor away from one move. It'll make it easier for him.
Maybe. I mean, it's not like... be careful up here on Gilgear. They actually popped the Blood Grenade onto him as well, but I'm sure it'll be enough to allow them to catch. Never mind. Second use of that Frost Blast.
Man, did you see Yutori sidestep there? How he avoided the Thunderclap? Just beautiful read. Afterlife ran straight into the lane. Got the clap onto Miposhka, but it didn't matter because Miposhka already used his round of spells along with the Blood Grenade. So very nice sidestep. Helps him find first blood, and this is a lane that's going to be able to continue to play super aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got so much kill threat just through the stun. A couple of slows as well on Miposhka. Got to be very careful on Gilgear especially as well. I mean, before he's level 2, he's always going to be very vulnerable. Probably not going to step as far forward anymore. Things going in the mid lane. Lyle looks like he's doing just fine. Obviously already building up a tiny lead over the Ember Spirit, but just having to think of if there is going to be too much of that rotation coming through from the supports towards the mid lane, because Techies, Lich, they're not exactly the best rotators, you know? Got Miposhka locking up the camp on the top side, but yeah, they feel like these heroes that just want to stick in the lane, make sure the cores have a good time. Maybe once Collapse gets into his Vanguard, he'll be okay. He's actually going to go that Vanguard full build.
Well, that kill is going
to enable Mirror, right?
Just so Mirror can maybe leave and play separate lanes and do his own stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I think Mirror is obviously a big part of Pugna now as a position 4 especially, is the XP that you get from being able to stack, right? And if you've got someone that you can just confidently lead them in the lane, know that they're not going to die, means that he's able to build up a ton of those, and then you can look to take them with someone like the Sven, who with the God Strength, of course, is just able to absolutely rip through them, gets you an early level 6. Means that you're able to play together with the Storm.
You might even give the stacks over to Lyle as well, considering he's going to be kind of the playmaker early on to make space for the Sven. So, of course, the Ancients go to him, but maybe the hard camp we might see Lyle given priority over, who is continuing to have a very good time mid lane. And you're a hero that has a bunch of armor, so you don't really mind about the slight spam. You play into a melee matchup, so the static remnant, the overload can be very frustrating, and we've still got kills bottom lane. Finally, they'll be able to get Collapse. And Kushi, along with Pedzim, take a decent chunk of damage though. He's going to try and get back. Kushi might be in some danger. Resonant Pulse up in a couple of seconds if he needs a physical barrier, but won't even be required. They got any regen though, with the Lotus and a couple tangos as well, so it looks like he should be fine.
A little surprise from Collapse there. He didn't use the 6 charges on the magic stick, maybe just assuming that he was completely dead, but would have had to been some perfect coordination coming through from Kushi and Panto. Here is that 4-minute mark. Yeah, the support's all converging around that mid lane. Miposhka, it's a risky place for him to be for sure. No 1 point in the Searing Chains just yet. Might have been able to get the kill combination off there, but Gilgear actually doesn't even have the Sacred Arrow, maybe being spooked by that previous death in the top lane. Gotta say, overall though, Team Spirit pretty happy with how things are turning out right now. Already built up a 1k net worth lead for themselves. If he goes that deep,
Phantom will also trade his life. I mean, Collapse is dying, but Mikushi's not farming at all. Only 10 last hits for the Void Spirit. He spent, seems like, a decent chunk of his gold on Regen. I believe that's his self that he's just popped. So even though with those 2 deaths, he's only 200 gold behind the Underlord.
Doesn't feel too great, and again, this isn't a lineup that looks to take those stacks.
Another round of the blast coming up shortly. It's level 2 as well. Just on there. Oh, my god, not the cleave, you Toro. Oh my god, this guy. Oh, now that's a big one. Pantomime rotating mid. Ankrad didn't have the level 6 nor the chains, but it wasn't even required. Beautifully done. So he kills in the side lane, but finally, mid's going to spill some blood as well.
Tactical death by Panto in that bot lane, right? Used all of his mana, used all of his HP, died to the Pugner. Who cares? Just allows you to get towards this mid lane. And he's going to stick around as well. Lyle starts to come back in. Still 10 seconds though until they've got the blast off available. But with this rotation from Gilgir as well.
What?
Doesn't get hit by the arrow. What a chat, he just stood in place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, what? We just stand still like that. That's crazy, actually. All right. Very interesting. Yutoro went phase boots.
Okay. I mean, we were saying that they are going to have a little bit of difficulty catching, right? Like, I think, to me, this is a question of, like, when does he feel confident to truly join into these team fights?
Oh, this doesn't look like for Lyle. Oh, all right. Maybe it does. What a vortex time. I was going to say, Ankrad had 6 and Lyle wasn't 6 just yet. Vortex was able to cancel up the jump. Lyle now, oh, he doesn't. He's 4 experience away. Having the level 6 still to play with. Ankrad though with the double damage rune, wanting to get aggressive, and they might run into the post go with Gilgir nearby. Point blank arrow is going to be on the mark.
Could have probably got the kill onto Gilgir. He's completely out of mana, even though he's got those 3 leap charges, even being given over a bottle sip by Ankrad to be able to enable him to continue staying out on the map. We're talking about the potential for taking those stacks on one move. They don't really have it that strongly, right? Like, it's gonna take, I don't know, at least the Maelstrom on Ankrad before he's able to do anything in that regard. There's Pugner looking to play Mira, already level 5. Look to stick around with Munkushi. He has to be careful with his positioning though. Doesn't want to give his life away for free. Just picked up the raindrops, which might end up saving him here. Munkushi's out of mana. Should be fine though. Poshka though.
Poshka's nearby as well. Might catch him off guard. Jump off the 1 charge, just get the step away. Meanwhile, Pantsman actually wants to jump in. Doesn't seem like he has enough damage though to get the kill onto Mira, so Pugner's going to be able to slip out of danger. Meanwhile, Poshka's still looking to try and snipe down Munkushi. He actually wants to drop some vision instead, so Spirit but it can hit back bottom lane, and they're not really too worried about Yutoro. With this Sven 3 points up in the cleave, can easily fall back to the jungle.
I'm pretty sure Collapse fed him over the Lotus there to enable the Pugner to live, just so that they were able to get that kill without Mira dying. So, if so, very nicely done.
There's a room department. Looks like Poshka got his, and Gilgir was able to get 1 moves as well.
I'd say you're pretty happy here if you're Mira, right? Level 5.5, might even be given over a little bit of this experience in the mid lane. Never mind. Lyle just comes back and says, you know what, I haven't gotten into my early item timings yet, just the Falcon Blade for now. Not sure if he really needed the Falcon Blade though, right? Like maybe something like the Power Treads Rush would have been a little bit better, considering you have the Pugner to be able to play around with.
I'm pretty sure the Falcon Blade, at least from what I've heard, is still core. The health is really nice.
With the Pugner?
200 health. Yeah, I think so.
Ember strength now rekindled.
Man, he's 700 behind. That kill really hurt Lyle's lane. I'm surprised that, I mean, Ankrad's got 2 kills as well, I suppose. We also saw him get Poshka previously, so well, what are we hoping the Ember to do with this really good start then?
I'm just thinking, where can he even look to make a rotation to? We haven't seen a Primal Split out of Afterlife yet. Maybe they just want to get some value out of that. He's just finished his Arcane Boots, starting to shove the lane. So maybe just force a rotation towards this mid lane. And when that happens, move up towards top. Might just be able to take mid as well off the back of this. Poshka has to be careful about how far forward he's going, and it looks like he might be paying with his life for it. Although, arrow off the mark by Gilgir, surprisingly.
And Ankrad takes 3 tower hits as well, so maybe Lyle's going to see an opportunity to try and zip on forward. Pantomime will hold them back for the moment, so at least they're going to be forced to turn to get the techies. A lot of damage. We cast it out before his death, so Spirit won't be able to continue with the chase on their initial target, which was Ankrad.
They won't be able to get the tier 1 tower as well before that 10-minute mark. So remember, I was talking about that being a fairly decent thing just because it would let you go up towards top again, play around that primal split, which they haven't quite been able to just yet. Like I say though, Afterlife, he is having a very good time up here farming, but I mean, it's a 1v1 farm fest between him and the Sven. You would have to say Yatoro is fairly satisfied as well, just being able to sit back with that Mask of Madness and pick up a lot of that farm for himself.
Radiant's bottom.
Try and see them look to finally play with the Brewmaster. Even Moonkush, he wants to head to the top lane. Yatoro does spy up the Void Spirit. First step's going to be off the mark. Half-Life might be forced to pop the ultimate from afar if they want to close the distance. Maybe the arrow, but Josh shy once again, so...
With this pace, Mal gets to take that hard camp. So he looks to build that one up. Maposhka stacked all of this, plus he's standing nearby, so he's getting the double experience value from it. Brings himself up to level 6. Pugna was able to sit mid lane, so that's level 6 for Mira. It feels like they might be enabled shortly. I think the Tranquil Boot's just coming out to Mira right now on the Courier too. So he's going to be perfectly healthy. Still give up this mid tier 1 though, off the back of what one move we're able to do in the previous couple of minutes from like 8 to 9.5. Look at Mira, even soaking up more of that XP as Yatoro looks to pick up the farm, and yeah, really this feels like the point where Sven, he can't fight, he's still looking to get into that Echo Saber, BKB, then the Blink Dagger. That's really where Team Spirit are going to press their go button.
And you see the comparison between...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nicely done. I mean, Maposhka and Mira are both nearby, and this is where the levels are going to come into play. To the point I was just about to highlight. You compare the levels. Like, still both supports and Radiant are 5, Mira is 7, Maposhka is 6. So they're ready to go on Spirit.
As they should. They make this 3-man smoke. You got to be a little bit mindful of this on Mkushi. 1 point in the Pit of Malice on Collapse. Really just the behavior to not give away anything as to whether a gank might or might not be coming. Cheeky Observer would place down by Maposhka on the way down there, just looking to try and force a defense out of one move as he looks to push into this tower, but it seems like they've done a pretty good job of reading it. Standing right underneath the overward. Mkushi placed it himself previously.
They should know. Well,
they do now. The Obs would run the Twin Gate.
Yeah, but so I think that... Yeah, there we go. I feel like you should know that one move dropped that ward, considering how he reacted as soon as the Pugna smoke popped. So, able to get the deer ward. Nice read from Miro.
But I mean, you still got the tower, right? Not the worst. Means that the Sven has a little bit more of an avenue to be able to play around the bottom side if he wants to. I mean, I guess you are playing with the Storm Spirit, so Roshan is always going to be a useful tool. Maybe Team Spirit are going to angle to play around the top side in this next little bit. You know, Roche spawning there in 2 minutes. They still have their tier 1 tower to take up on the top side. No real value out of mid tier 1 this game, I feel, for Team Spirit, at least in the very early goings. Mira's a little bit away from the rest of the team, though. Doing his job, shoving in bottom a little bit. He's going to be able to away from this gank though.
Running to collapse, yeah. The odds before this was currently favoring Team Spirit, but off the back of the pickoff might be able to help them out a little bit. One move. It's going to take some time though. Collapse is a beefy boy. Munkushi nearby, hopefully he's going to be able to pump in the damage. Collapse hasn't gone down just yet. This is so much space. I mean, Spirit, they're surely getting something else out of the map. They were making an attempt at the techies, but with the Moonlight Shadow Phantom able to duck under the cover of the invis, and meanwhile Afterlife is okay as well. So finally they were able to get the kill, but it did take them quite some time.
It did. I mean, to me, big zip towards the bottom side. They might be able to steal away the Wisdom Rune on Gilgear. Well, they're looking to make this sort of play, but you just see Lyle makes one attempt. Doesn't get him any sort of power rune, but Mira's right there to make sure he's fighting fit. Also equaled up his levels with Ankarad. A little bit behind in net worth, but that's just because Sven is looking to take the majority of the farm in the jungles at this point in time. Gilgear looking to rectify that situation in terms of the support levels, now bringing himself up to level 7, almost level 8. Techie's level 8, almost level 9, so actually leapfrogged what Team Spirit were able to do off the back of a stolen away Wisdom Rune.
Who do you feel like is happier with the status quo that we have currently in this game one?
I'm just trying to think of, like, to get in the minds of Spirit, right? Because they can't take any objectives until Yatoro is there, right? And he just doesn't want to be there yet. I'm sure they would love to maybe slow down what Ember Spirit's able to do, just so that he's not as capable of harassing the supports. Mira's actually might be the one getting targeted here.
At least Lyle's going to be able to survive, though. That's the main thing. You won't mind about a Pugna going down with all these heroes committing inside Dire's jungle. Even with the Primal Split used as well. Afterlife still trying to hunt Lyle, but going to be okay. Man, that's a deep attempt. They are chilling.
Collapse used the Fiendscape, but didn't actually go in, realizing that, you know what am I actually going to provide to it other than maybe a natural Fiora? He just had the mech delivered, and he is going into that Greaves and the Pipe afterwards. Really feel like he's going to be disassembling that Vanguard. This was much more of a laning stage sort of thing, just allowed to stay on this side of the map. Well, he did die previously, but not that big a deal.
I kind of would like to see Munkushi consider about getting involved in fights, or at least be farming in an avenue where he might be able to rotate to some. Like, I think this is, you're not going to out-farm a Sven, and we're obviously seeing that in the net worth. Yatoro is continuing to further his lead over the opposition's position one. Yes, you're playing as a carry,
it's a different sort of game. It's a different sort of game if you're playing with a Magnus, right? Versus what the situation currently is. Like, you do not have that story.
Afterlife, this is a huge kill. It's pretty beefy though, 2100 health they've got to go through. Now Pantman with the jumper as well on the back line. Blasts off onto twos, not enough to keep the Brew alive. And now Low, he can look to tear apart the supports, but he won't have an answer to Ankrad. As the Ember Spirit be able to get a secondary support. Now Lyle's still in a bit of trouble, doesn't have too much mana to work with. Collapse is starting to tip into the outpost. Let's see if he's going to be in time though to keep his mid laner alive. And he's not. Mechanism comes out too late, and now Collapse, he might be in some danger as well. What has Ankrad still got to work with? Munkushi as well is out of ultimate charges. That's a beefy boy. They're still going to make the attempt. It's going to be a slow, painful wear down of the Underlord. He's actually going to try and bring the poison with the Rift as well, but that will come too late. Yatoro, he'll enter through. Is he going to have enough though by himself? Munkushi out to the right. Yatoro doesn't have any mobility now to close the distance, but still the respawns are coming up. Team Spirit, they're going to be able to provide the +1 to potentially help out if a further fight does break out. One move, we're ready for it. Even Afterlife is back in the air with the Primal Split ready to go, but it's like Spirit will back out.
Big winner of that is Afterlife, right? Sure, he dies in the initial, but he gets tons of assist gold and brings him ever so closer towards that Aghanim Scepter. So only about 200 or so gold away. Already mentioned the insane amount of value that it's going to provide against the Underlord, just to be able to provide a Dispel for the Root, against the Frost Shield, against the Decrepify, against the War Cry. So much benefit being provided from that consistent Dispel.
Nice gaze. Still low. Oh my god, he got the illusion! What a timing for the room. Dodges out the arrow as well, and now they're going to hunt. Yatoro's even wanting to get involved as well, but the ultimate's still on cooldown. I don't think they're going to have enough damage to get rid of Afterlife before the Primal Split. They're still going to make the attempt, but now the turnaround. Even Munkushi wants to rotate over as well. With a bit of Melch inside the choke point, and might enable the retreat, but they haven't addressed Ankrad. This Ember Spirit's damage is starting to ramp up. And Afterlife goes down though, one move, want nothing to do with this fight. And forced to retreat, Munkushi and his Spirit brother back to the safety of the Tier 1 tower.
I mean, the thing that Spirit are going to be happiest about there was that they did force out that Primal Split. I mentioned before that he was only about 200 gold away from the Axe on the Brewmaster, but he's completely halted in terms of his net worth progression. He's gone backwards, not any closer towards the level 12 as well, just for that extra couple of seconds on the Primal Split.
I mean, they'll force out the BKB, they're happy with that. I honestly didn't see through that fight. He died in Primal Split, yeah? He didn't.
Yes.
It didn't expire. That's a huge concern if you're dying 90 minutes in Split, because it's not going to get any easier with the Sven. So
well, that's why the level 2 is so important, right? Like, you get legitimately 900 more HP just from the Earth Bruising alone.
Pretty close to it. Just needs 1/3 of the way there. Spirit don't feel like they've been starting to build up a decent chunk of momentum. I mean, still really, for me, all my attention's on Ankrad. Like, this is having a hell of a game one, but is it going to be enough to get them over the finish line?
I always feel like we're saying that in these games, aren't we? You know, Ankrad popping off, but somehow all the pieces don't come together. And for this one, in Mukushi, he did join that fight, so he did do the thing that you were mentioning previously, but is it enough? Afterlife.
See you. Microing out your Storm Panda is going to get yourself caught out inside the river. Spirit, beautifully done. They TP'd lower to the mid lane to try and defend, and then they smoke behind him, sweeping across the map, kind of dangling his own life, so they'll be rewarded with the kill. Fortunately, going to get the power in as well, but now they're going to look to invade. So taking over a little bit of farm as well, getting some vision down.
Might be able to backdoor the tier 1, yoink away the 21-minute timing wisdom rune, take away the tormentor. Like that might be the case. Sven still TPing back, but you've got a Pugner, 3 points in the Nether Blast. That's plenty to be able to rip through this one. We're actually going to make some TPs to be able to defend here. Sven's not with it.
This is not looking like a good fight for Spirit, with the God Strength being over. Wait, what's the call going to be? Law's going to try and make the attempt onto Ankrad, but an instant remnant away. He's okay for the moment. Meanwhile, Collapse wants to go through the rift, but I'll stop him short. Great micro from Afterlife. Collapse is still alive for the moment. Meanwhile, over to the right side, Ankrad's proving to be a huge issue against Team Spirit still. He's going to be able to get the kill. 2 for 2. Back to Collapse we go. Finally, they'll come through the full health pool of the Underlord. A little bit greedy there from Spirit. Thought the 4 heroes were going to be enough to get the tier 1 tower. Utoro wanted to try and farm the lane. They split up, and as a result, one move, they're going to be alive fast enough to defend that and get some kills.
They also keep their wisdom rune as well off the back of that. So Ankrad, I mean, he's having such a phenomenal game. Level 14, so keeping up with everyone, with the exception of Yatoro. Still deathless this game is the Sven, but I mean, this is what you want out of the mid laner, creating a ton of space and doing it without that Pugner steroid to be able to play around with. All he really needs is that BKB now, and then he's going to be completely free to go in onto the back lines.
The prize is mine.
Also getting the level 10 on Afterlife. Very important now, just to provide a little bit more survivability for the Brewlings.
Mukushi? Okay, he's alright. Ooh, he went in. And I don't blame him with an arrow connecting like that. Beautifully done. And now Lau, he's going to be on the mark. Sets up the Phantom's blast off as well as the control going to be enough. Lau, not better for a zip away, but it's not too far. If they get a glimpse, they might go. Just there's a medic. Back to full. Back to fighting shape. And now Yatoro.
Doesn't pop the God Strength just yet, and he does have the Blink Dagger available, but has to be very careful about this Storm Panda, of course. During the time when it's relatively close to Afterlife, it does have that invis and does have its full movement speed, so as he gets that BKB off, like it basically means that Team Spirit need to be the one making the jump from here on out. It's why I was so adamant about something like the Beastmaster, just to be able to provide that backline information. Because Yatoro wants to be jumping now with the Blink Dagger, God Strength. He wants to be blowing up someone like the Brute, honestly, just to be able to enable all of these buffs over time that they have. Even the Storm Spirit wants that same sort of capability. We'll have to have a look at what the vision game looks like right now for Spirit. Kind of defensive, you know, maybe they can look to play around Collapse if he gets jumped on. Actually, there we go. Someone finally gets isolated a little bit, and Lyle makes sure Gilgear knows about it. But at any time, they could look to connect through to Collapse. You know, all he needs to do is just lay down a Dark Rift. So I kind of want to see him continue to play down bot here.
And well, with him playing,
he just did.
Down to this area, it's going to help him get the kill into Pantomim. He's even going to be able to come through the rift as well. Panto will do what he can to delay the kill. Nonetheless, it's going to be an easy one. Yatoro's even acting as a blockade just in case any more reinforcements start to swing down to this bottom side of the map. And now with those 2 kills, Spirit should be able to get a decent chunk of damage in this bottom tower. In fact, they'll probably claim it without the glyph.
Wasn't the perfect rift. It kind of felt like a snap click onto the minimap and hoping it was on point, but it still allowed most of the team to be able to join in with enough time. So this is the sort of value that they want to get out of the God Strength, but it does potentially open up a bit of a window for when the tech is back alive for them to go for a play of their own. I mean, you also do need to consider how much do one move feel they're close to hitting some of their timings. Gilgear almost getting into the Guardian Greaves, Techies almost has the Solar Crest. these sorts of things that really feel like not much, but it's so huge towards their prospects in the later stages. Even Void Spirits closer to the old Nullifier.
So one more push is going to be able to do to protect Collapse. Kushi's going to try and separate the two to make it easier on the kill into the Underlord. Still, Collapse is beefy. A lot of attention put towards the Underlord, which means that Spirit should be able to trade their life, but hasn't gone down just yet. Oh, now is the one that's in some trouble. Should be able to get the zip away, however. I mean, Maposhka lives. Munkushi didn't have the damage to secure that kill, but of course, made a lot of space so the rest of the boys could finally address Collapse's Underlord. 6 deaths this game for Collapse.
He has kind of played that role, though, right? Of just, hey, come and kill me. And he's trying to make himself as beefy as possible as they make a quick jump onto Gil here. Once again, popping the God Strength. Afterlife just tossing him into the air. Again, no BKB used preemptively, but he can just keep the push going. Might look to stick around this mid lane, knowing the fact that they've got the vision advantage, they've got even the high ground covered. Getting a bit of a scan off to make sure they know where Yatoro is. Doesn't seem like he wants to continue to commit to take that tier 2 tower for now, even with the Mirana dead and Collapse respawning. Really feels like that pipe is going to be so influential for Collapse, though. If he's able to finish that one up, just a ton of passive resistance coming through from that. It used to be 30. What's it down to now? 20. So actually quite a big magic resistance reduction coming from that.
Nice. Spy up Pantsman inside the lane. Radiant nearby to try and offer some assistance, but it's just Munkushi by the looks of it. Afterlife.
Top tower has been
Roche.
denied.
It's going to continue farming, so yeah, I mean, with that tower going down, especially now, it's going to make it free for them to claim Roche. You got 35 seconds with a 4v5. For me, I feel like one move you're just looking to try and avoid the next couple of minutes. If Munkushi can get this Nullifier, it's going to be a huge item for them to be able to address the supports, but I actually want to try and take the fight.
Going into this, I'm not quite so sure. Maybe if they could kill the Lich to be able to start things off, Arrow's just going to connect onto Collapse.
To be able to get the win, and come back off cooldown pretty surely here from Afterlife. Oh, never mind, sorry, 70 seconds. How do you enter the pit?
God Strength. That's where I got arrowed.
You're
not going to commit, though.
Yeah.
So, big rotations came through while you had a one-man disadvantage. You didn't know the God Strength with the pop previously. Anchorat could have potentially picked up farm, pushed that bottom tier 1 tower, and completed his Shivas off the back of that.
I was going to say, he's showing bottom lane, so they're going to go instantly on one move. He can always get rifted in, though.
They're going to be mindful for that. Might even be the catalyst for wanting to find Collapse first. It's pretty rare that you see an Underlord the furthest back, but they know they can't afford to give him up for free.
Arrow? Oh, just passes by Maposhka, though. First point of contact, they're going to try and target down with the Lich. Blast off from downtown. Finally, they'll secure the kill to Lich, but look how deep they're taking this team fight right out front of the tier 3 tower. Oh, he's zipped into the arrow. No, is it going to be enough, though? Still okay. Of course, he's playing with the Aegis as well, but he's out of mana. So trying to turn Yatoro's been able to show up to the fight as well. So now finally with the Sven, probably force one move to retreat out of the area. Pantomim. Now the arrow connecting is the magnet so far from low, but the damage is just lacking one move. All these heroes are ever so close. Collapse even slips out of danger. Now Yatoro just rips them apart. Deals with Munkushi, looks over to Afterlife next as well. With all the mana that Lyle gets off the back of the respawn, it can zip over the top and cancel the retreat as Collapse will hold the Brewmaster into place. With such a deep attempt from one move, they saw Yatoro on the opposite side of the map, but it just took them too long to get into the middle, and it seems like they've got a huge lack of damage. I mean, you mentioned inside that fight, all the auras from Collapse is proving to be a really big issue now for one move.
I'm not seeing I've been looking at the Primal Companion a lot of the time, and I haven't really been seeing too much of the Dispel Magic. I mean, this is why you picked the hero. This is why you went an early use of the Aghanim Scepter. I see Yatoro farming inside of the Ancients camp, but again, like, you've just lost it. He can afford to play in places where he feels like they might actually know that he's around. So he's actually looking to potentially go into the Aghanim shard as well, so providing even more of that passive protection to the rest of the boys. He's doing a great job already in protecting them. Mirror as well, just with the use of the solo decrep a lot of the time, valuing his own life, realizing how much of like a taunt target he is, I suppose, because of how valuable he is to be able to provide a lot of that extra security to the rest of his team. Took a lot longer to kill Lyle than it probably should have, and all the while he still had the Aegis for all of it. He's got a full BKB coming out to him now, I think, as well. Never mind sight the Vice on Lyle, he just bought it out fully.
Well, maybe the lack of damage, at least on one target, might not be there anymore now with Munkushi having this nullifier. Because it's going to get rid of a lot of the extra value that the auras will provide. Still, there'll be a little bit, but we'll see if that's going to be enough.
Afterlife's almost got Lance. That's a big damage buff as well. It'll now enable them to take those more lengthy team fights as well. Just off the back of some of the lifesteal coming through. I was a little surprised that Anchorite did back off in that fight when he did. I mean, he was very close to being able to secure that kill onto Collapse. Oh, what I got a nullifier on his own. On the Underlord.
No. Okay. Well, he was going to go down as well. 60 seconds with a buyback. That's the first death for Ankrad. And see, one death, and that's going to cost you gravely. Full set of barracks probably going to be claimed now.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Arrow's on point, but they cannot take this fight. Anchorite has been the vast majority of your damage up to this point. They even make sure that they get rid of that Storm Panda, so no Primal Companion for Afterlife for the next little bit. Doesn't want to commit the Primal Split at this point.
Radiant's bottom barracks.
Trying to act like a real hero on the back lines. That Manta Illusion was Munkushi. Pushes it back for a second, but they're still going to lose the melee racks.
Is under attack.
Just see how quick Yatoru is to be able to make the jump, right? Sees people in the wrong place at the wrong time and bang, right in on top of them.
Again,
completely sold. He,
Sorry, finish your point.
Oh, he sold the Mask of Bandits. Farming time's over. He even sold the Mask of the Morbid Mask. Still keeping the quarterstaff to be able to build into the Orchid, but it's all about aggression now. It's not about farming, passive play. Yatoro feels like I'm online. I'm the true core of this game. Anyone that we jump on, they're just dead.
Well, he can't be here for this fight. They saw him TP top and the Fiend's Gate's on cooldown. So once again, I mean, this has happened multiple times this game, where Yatoro's TP'd to the opposite side of the map, and maybe one member of Spirit has stuck around just for a little bit too long. Like, the 4 members tried to retreat together, but Laps was the one person left behind, so nice read from one move.
It's one of the disadvantages of playing, a hero like Sven versus a Manta-style buyer, right? Where you can actually use just the illusions to push out some of these waves. He needs to commit his full body onto it, and they see him. Anytime he's got the war cry, you're absolutely certain that is the real Yatoro playing up on the top side. I mean, he's close to finishing up a Bloodthorn though, so not that they had issues being able to blow targets up before, but this just makes it an absolute certainty. Just nullifier after the fact, right? It's like he's going for it on Yatoro. Collapse nearly finished it up for himself as well. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Coming soon for one move, unless someone gets picked off first. Lyle, a little bit too aggressive, but maybe Panto just with that sticky bomb revealing his position, allowing him to get on out, and they instantly make a smoke of their own. Once again, knowing that Collapse, he does have the Fiend's Gate up this time. He's able to join at any time and not wanting to reveal on the map either. Not wanting to give up any sort of that free information.
The line drawn.
Wrap around, yeah.
Yeah. They're going to be on the mark as well. One move just leaving their triangle. They will see the Cory though flying past.
And the bomb. They've stepped on Techi's mind too. They're setting up for this.
I think they got a glimpse of Ankrad. They're well aware. Pinging out the high ground Yatoro though. Still smoke pops.
How quick is Gilgear on his ultimate as well? He's got the evasion. Here we go.
Yatoro. They're pinging him. Scary positioning Yatoro. Oh, he reveals himself. Just onto the Wind Panda though. That could have been devastating in close proximity area like that. If you group up on one move and Toro starts to get the cleave going, that could have just been game. See another day. It's 8,000 deficit for them, so still not out of reach, but we really have felt this momentum just completely swing for a decent chunk of this game now. Might even jump Pantomim. They get a glimpse of the techies instantly. La Yutoro look to get on top of him, no doubt on their mind that they see a freebie.
To try and take away as much of this control. They're actually going to smoke and make an aggressive move. I mean, they didn't pop really anything on Team Spirit. They might even see some of these creeps in the mid lane.
So have a good ward.
Now
though, Rikushi with the follow-up as well. They're all just standing around each other trying to protect the support to get to Toro. Oh, just got rid of Anchor at it instantly. Couple of swipes. Finally cycling up in the air, but the damage has been dealt. And now the Brewlings are gone as well. This is the thing about the Sven against the late game Brewmaster. If you can get the right clicks going, they will not survive long.
Not indeed. Even with that BKB all the way down to 6 seconds, it's enough. You know, Yatoro just needs time to be able to remove one of those key heroes from the game, and I feel like maybe he's gone at one item a little bit too late with the BKB on the Ember Spirit, meaning that he doesn't have that same level of kiting potential, especially going up against this Bloodthorn as well.
Sidestep the area, the rift in Yatoro, a double stun onto both supports as they were trying to answer up the high ground, but not to be. Miles going to be a little bit cautious, out of mana, but
hey, he's got
Medic near it, nearby. Hello, brother, I got you. It's going to go down. Yatoro finds a triple. In the end, a 5-man wipe. Now they can look to go for the finishing blow. Barracks soon to be exposed. Mid lane is their objective.
I mean, Afterlife with the Storm Brewling, just delaying the inevitable right now. Level 25 as well on Collapse. Not Collapse on Yatoro. Uses to pop it with the extra God Strength damage as well at level 25. Might even consider going for the tier 4 push, but tier 2 tower top doesn't have that backdoor protection. Not that it would have been able to withstand the big sword coming through from the Sven either.
Script for Megas, maybe 35 seconds. I mean, don't know that Mankushi doesn't have a buyback. Maybe they do. They see board out ultimate on Cornucopia. He's just going to jump in. Who cares about potential buyback? They'll just go for Afterlife before the response is there. Pantomim now buries his own grave. Yatoro beyond a godlike, and G's are dropped as well.
He completed the Aeon Fist after he died, just because of how quickly they were able to chunk him down.
Spirit victory.
It's one of those things where, like, you rely on yourself to be able to have those quick fingers in the middle of the fight, but when you think, holy